Salvete omnes, ego sum Magister Sullivan, back with Caesar 1.7. Remember that in Caesar 1.4, Orgetorix, the leader of the Helvetians, was caught and was made to plead out his case, and the punishment would have been death by burning. So he decides to call his family members, and then in that confusion, tries to snatch himself away. But as the Helvetians think, he eventually takes his own life. But the Helvetians continue with his plan, and now they're going to meet with Caesar. So it's our first mention of Caesar and his involvement with the Helvetians or the Gauls. So here we go. So when, so remember that cum with an ablative noun after it would be with, but there's no ablative noun near it. So it's going to be when. When it or the thing had been announced, this is a subjunctive, a pluperfect subjunctive, had been announced to Caesar that they, the Helvetians, then we go to we need to have an infinitive here, which we do. We have conari, right? And then this infinitive needs another infinitive with it. So that's what we have here. So that they would try or tried or were trying to make a journey or to travel pair through our province. It hurries to set out from the city and hurries or hastens into Farther Gaul, the region of Farther Gaul, again with or in as many or in as large journeys as he can, as possible, and arrives at Geneva. He commands, he orders, right, the entire province, the whole of the province, as many or as large a number of soldiers, right, the genitive of soldiers, as he can. There was one legion in further Gaul altogether. Right? And he orders the bridge, and qui is referring to bridge, which was at Geneva, rescindi, to be destroyed, to be rescinded, to be taken away. So this verb eubet almost always needs an infinitive, and that's what this is. This is a present passive infinitive. And here we have imperant, which is another verb to command, but it doesn't need an infinitive with it. But just eubet, expect one when you see eubet, eubeo, or any form of that. Okay, when the Helvetians were made more certain about his arrival, that's Caesar's arrival, they send, so the Helvetians send legates to him. And these legates are the most noble of the state, whose ambassadorship, Neemius and Eucloetius were having the prime spot, prime location. Who, they said that they were in a mind for themselves to make a journey, to travel through the province without any malfeasance, without any evil thoughts, without any evil doing. because they were having no other path. They had no other way. They had no other path. All right, so Aliud and Iter and Nulam would join that one too. So let's go down here. And so this is all one indirect statement too, that they ask for it to be allowed to make a journey, to make it for themselves with his say so, with his willingness, with his blessing, with his approval. Caesar, because he was holding in memory, because he was remembering Lucius Cassius, a consul, had been cut down, had been killed. There should be an essa here, so this is an infinitive. I'll link a discussion about infinitives since we have so many in this chunk for our next time. So, because Caesar was remembering that Lucius Cassius, a consul, had been killed, and his army, so Lucius Cassius's army, had been driven back by the Helvetians, and having been sent under the plow, right, under the oak, right, in a sense, so had been put into slavery. So, and then we go all the way down. Remember Caesar from before. This is our main verb. So he was thinking that this must not be allowed or approved, right? Concedendum. Again, because if we go back, all this stuff had happened to Lucius Cassius and his army, to himself, and then to the others who had been put into slavery, right? So he was thinking that he would not allow this. All right, and then we're going to go all the way down here. So, and he was thinking, so Caesar was thinking that men of a unfriendly mind or unfriendly spirit, with the opportunity having been given. So this is ablative description, and this is ablative absolute. So with the opportunity having been given of, these are genitives, of making a journey through the province, that they would not refrain. So these men would not refrain from offense or from injury, and from doing bad things. However, so that he could pause for a space of time, or to allow for a space of time, while his troops, whom he had commanded, were gathering, he responded to the legates that he would wait a day, or would take a day to deliberate, to think about it. Again, we have a Jew around here, right? And if they would want anything, if they should want anything, they should return at or on the Ides of April. Ides is the first of the month, first calendar month. All right, so Caesar is asking them so that he can assemble his people, assemble his troops, because this is the first time he's entered Gaul. He's delaying or asking for more time so that he can respond to them. All right, so that's it. That's Caesar meets the Helvetians. So they're asking for passage through his region. that they don't plan ill will, um, and Caesar is inclined to say no to them because of past wrongs. But we'll see what happens in the end. This begs a parallel between Charon, remember Charon in the underworld, having misgivings about humans, mortals, the undead, or the living, sorry, um, coming down into the underworld and gaining entrance. Um, and he's had a bad experience with that, so we'll see as we will revisit this what Caesar does next, because Caesar's delaying or biding his time so he can get his troops in order. So if there's a similarity there, then maybe we'll take a look. All right, Almes. Walete